Hi everyone, it's Knifefights22, and welcome to my new series of videos, and just a new type of videos really, about me analysing my actual games after the match. Now, I know Alex Markwell, hi there if you're watching, Alex has done me a request to do this, so this is for him, and if you're watching, I have a really good game planned today, so please stay tuned. Now, I'm just gonna do basically a series of all my best and my worst games, but this is one of my best games that I'm just looking at, and let's just dive right into it. Now, the player that I was rated was about 1050 in rating, and I was about 1050, and I was about 1000. So he was rated quite high compared to me. So he played e4, and I didn't really like playing e5 in this position. I usually like going something really aggressive, like the Scandinavian, but I did play e5 just because he's a high rated player and an equal position would be quite nice. Here he plays quite an odd move. He plays pawn to a3. Now, on the surface this looks like a really bad move, but if you think about it, in the mainline king's pawn, often this bishop will come to b4 to pin this knight, and it can be quite annoying for the white player to defend this pawn. So I actually really like his move here, but the only problem with this move is it lets me dive right into central control, and I play kind of like a reverse King's Gambit. By the way, if you don't know, the King's Gambit is my favourite opening. And obviously this is just taking central control, and he takes the pawn here. And now I hastily play my my knight up to f6 here because of this queen h5 check. Because obviously if g6, then pawn takes, and the queen can take the rook for free. Okay, so now he plays the knight to c3, hence why I played a3 earlier. And I can strike right into the center now with pawn to d5. And here he plays quite an interesting move. He plays pawn to d4, and basically what he's trying to do is he's trying to undermine this e-pawn. And the clever thing about this move is if I play knight to c6 to simply defend, he can just come slamming down with bishop to b5, and the pawn is lost, basically. And I'm already down a pawn, so I don't want these two pawns on the 5th rank. So I just play e4, kind of close the position up a little bit, and he now plays bishop to g5, pinning this knight. And obviously, because it's the only minor piece I've developed, I don't want to lose it and get my queen out into the center. So I play bishop e7, and now he kind of plays h4 here, slamming down the pawn. And if you think about it, when the bishop takes the knight, this bishop's on quite a nice diagonal. It's on the longest diagonal on the board. And because he's played this move h4, I'm now suspecting he'll be castling on the queen side, as he has all his pieces out from the queen side. So I play now h6. I don't want this bishop here, but he doesn't decide to trade off because of that really strong bishop. So he just brings the bishop back to e3 to further defend this pawn. So now I play bishop takes f5. This is adding extra protection to the pawn, and also I don't want him to play like g4 if he's not castling on the queen side, if he's not castling on the king side, and really kill my bishop here and just kill all my king side. So now he plays pawn to f3, and now pawn to f3 is really undermining my my center a bit, and it's a good move because if I take, he can capture back with this knight, or even this queen will be good in this position, and it just gives him a lot of development. So here I play pawn to c6. So even if we do decide to trade pawns, this d5 pawn is hammered into the center, so I still maintain central control. And here he plays knight to h3, which on the surface doesn't look like a good move, but it has this very important outpost square on f4, and that would be deadly, because even if I played in this position bishop d6 and then traded off, here's this immensely strong bishop down this open diagonal, and that kind of stops me if I wanted to castle queenside anyway. So I have to trade that off, and once he trades it off here, I don't like my move too much here, but it's safer to castle on the king side in my position, because even though I kind of do have not much protection, you know, I still have this g8 pawn and this this h6 pawn, which is supported. So, and I don't mind too much. But he can sacrifice a piece here if he wants, but he doesn't. Instead, he plays queen to e2, and maybe his plan is to swing the queen across to g2, and then you know, bishop h6, and then you've got checkmate line. But I don't want to go into any of that, so I need to quickly start my own attack. Queen to b6. You know, I'm thinking this knight isn't going to be very strong on d7. and you know, because of this pawn, and I want to attack the queen side. So, for example, if he castles queenside now, I can play bishop takes on a3, sacrificing that bishop, and then I'm gonna have this open g file for my queen to basically murder that king, which is on the queen side. But here in this position, he plays knight a4, attacking the queen, and I think this was quite a weak move actually, because although it does attack the queen and defend the pawn, I can play queen a5 check, and after he plays the knight back, I have quite a strong position. I would have played queen to b5 here, but I didn't want to trade queens, so instead I just bring the queen back to b6, and I say I want that queen on b6 because it's very powerful there. Even though this bishop is pointing at it, this pawn isn't going to go anywhere because this is solidified pawn chain, and this c pawn isn't going to come up for a while now. So here he plays pawn to b4, and this is the main mistake of him. I'm like, oh mate, you've played pawn to b4. I didn't understand because I thought it was castling here, and now all of a sudden he's probably just closing this b file because he's saying, okay, it's too risky to castle queenside all of a sudden, and I want to take control on the queen side. But this gives me time to play pawn to a5, and basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and break through on the queen side before he can castle on the king side. So here he brings the knight to a4 again. And this is a move which I think it was a slight mistake. Nonetheless, I played queen a7, and I think maybe c7 was better because of this threat with the rook and the queen. But it didn't turn out to be too bad. He played bishop to g2, and I can see now. Okay, he's castling kingside, which is absolutely rubbish for him. But I'm going to try and open up the position before he does. So I play a takes b4, and he doesn't take here, which I find a little bit weird, and because as you can see, well, no, actually, it's not that odd, because, sorry, that was a mistake. If he takes, then we're bishop to b4 check, and that is going to be quite nasty for him with all these pieces. Okay, so he castled, but he does lose the knight for that position, and that would have been a little mistake on his behalf. And now he takes the pawn, but instead of taking, obviously, that was a slight mistake I made, putting my queen on the a file. So I basically just take the rook on a1, and after he recaptures, I win 2 rooks for the queen. So I'm okay with that. And he plays king to h2. Now, basically, I was under quite a lot of time pressure at this point. I only had about 2 minutes left, and I kind of accidentally played rook to f7. The move that I wanted to play was bishop takes pawn. But I accidentally played rook to f7. Nonetheless, he played pawn up to c4, and now I just go ahead and take that pawn, and then he recaptures, and now he's and now after I recapture, he makes a mistake. He plays pawn down to d5, because after I take here, his king is quite exposed, and he's just kind of lost the game. So, for example, after queen to b2, which was a very stupid move, I played bishop to d6, and he resigned. Basically, the reason he resigned is because the only way to defend this checkmate is to basically put pieces in front of the king, and then after you put pieces in front of the king, that is checkmate there, because this rook is controlling this a file. So, thanks very much for watching. I think it was a very good game. By the way, it was a 10-minute game. And I finished with 1 minute 38 on the clock, and he finished with 5 minutes 37. So maybe where he went wrong was to maybe think a bit more deeply, maybe just not think one move ahead about his moves, but because I was thinking about 2 or 3 when I was doing it. But nonetheless, it was a good game. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to do another video soon. Sorry I haven't done one in a while, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.